Hi, guys. So this is welcome to Just Living Life Hangout with the patrons. We decided to do something for our patrons. As a follow up to the podcast, we are giving our patrons an opportunity to make their comments on the content that we are sharing and also give their opinions. We don't want this show to be just about our opinions, but we want to get feedback from people and also just get to know if we're on the right track or if there's anything that we need to change or alterations we need to make. So I'm right here with Nobu, of course,
Yeah.
and Sipo.
Yeah.
Just say hi, Sipo.
Hello.
And Ivy.
Hello.
Yeah. So Sipo and Ivy are two of uh, the people who were really excited about our podcast and showed us great support during the week. And we just thought it would be a good idea to just pull some of those people, invite them as guests, and just talk to them. Hopefully, if things go well, this is going to be happening every time, a few days after we release an episode. Anyway, I think that's enough talking from me. Yeah, guys. Uh, so this is going to be the structure of this discussion. We don't want it to be long, just a few minutes. But basically, on the show, we were talking about friendship, and the main thing we're saying is that friendship is absolutely essential to a relationship. It is much better if you're in a relationship if you're friends
Mm-hmm.
and you are able to relate better and all of that. I don't want to repeat the stuff that we are saying on the show. So guys,
Yeah.
somebody rescue me.
Oh well. In my own opinion, I think friendship is really important because it's basically the foundation of
Yep.
a relationship. And most of the times we try to use sort of like a relationship manual whereby we do that high school thing where we seek to impress each other. And most times it doesn't really bring out the real person, and you get
Yeah.
to go for a long way dating someone and you don't even know their inner self. You try to please them, make them happy with things that you're not comfortable with. For
Mm.
example, if you don't like watching soccer and then you're going to start forcing yourself to do it, but you're not doing it out of love, or you're just doing it because you want to win their heart. Most of the times we like, I would actually call it more like desperately loving. Like you do something to gain love back, of which if you actually make, yeah, if you actually make friendship your foundation,
Foundation.
really, uh-huh, it helps to build this strong thing where you now know the person inside out. So you guys are free with each other. He knows your like your weaknesses, your worst points, your best parts, not only the slay queen or this type of thing. Because if you give the wrong impression, it's gonna fall in love with the wrong impression, and later on, even after spending 4 years courting, you're still gonna not be you're not gonna be happy with the person you actually dating. So friendship, yeah, it's really a broad topic. So I hope and guess that we're gonna break it down and really discuss what this friendship is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a friend of ours who was saying for her, one of the things that comes to her mind quickly is the fact that regardless of how angry she is at her partner,
Mm-hmm.
because they are friends, sometimes she gets a joke, and the first person she's thinking of sharing it with
Yeah.
is the person that she's angry with. And,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
or, she receives a joke and thinks, oh, he might like this, but then I can't send
Mm-hmm.
it now because I'm angry at him. You're kind of forced to
Yeah.
snap out of it quicker
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's something like that. I don't know, Sipo, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Ivy on the fact that there is less burden to pretend when you're friends.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're friends with someone, it takes away a lot of misunderstandings in terms of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
presenting yourself as your true self, so to speak. I'll never pretend to my friends and pretend I'm something that I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
because one way or the other they'll fight me out.
Yeah.
So if the foundation is friendship, it it evens up the playing field, so to speak. There is less pressure to please anyone. You just present yourself the way you are. Whether they like it or not, that's another story. But then you are
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And when this statement is said that you should be in a relationship with your best friend, most people go out and look for friends, their friends who are of the opposite sex, and try to have a relationship with them because
Uh-huh.
they are friends, which is usually, I think, a misunderstanding of that whole statement
Mm.
that you should be in a relationship with your friend. It means someone whom you are comfortable with. It does not necessarily mean to be your childhood friend from kindergarten or something.
Uh-huh.
It could
Yeah.
be someone you meet and you click and you have that uh, relationship where you're open with each other and you share everything except nothing.
Yeah. Um,
Great.
one of the comments I received from someone was, yeah, they like the podcast. Then they say that not to scare other people who maybe didn't start with friendship as the foundation. Um, Friendship can be developed, and I think I did mention it
Uh-huh.
passively that for most people it's attraction, and then
Uh-huh.
the guy makes on you, and then you say yes, and you say we'll see how it goes. So
Uh-huh.
yes, ideally be friends from scratch, but that doesn't mean that if you're in friends then the relationship is doomed. You can grow a friendship and develop it, and it becomes something, fruitful. Just like Spo is saying, that it doesn't mean that go to your circle of friends and pick a
Uh-huh. And
partner
pick
from
out
there.
someone.
You can go the other route, but when you're
Uh-huh.
there, develop a friendship beyond just the warm fuzzes and the love. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was
And
hoping that.
actually, oh,
Oh,
sorry.
no, go ahead, Ivy.
Okay. All right, thank you. In most cases, actually, what happens is most times you meet someone who's a stranger, rather someone who you didn't grow up with or who you are not in the same environment with. In that case, sometimes attraction comes first, like what Nobili said, and it's important to build this friendship then and not to pay attention to the societal pressure, because sometimes you people get so much pressure from the society and they already want to do these Instagram goals, relationship goals before they actually build this friendship.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like you would rather have, of course, a very long courtship is discouraged, but you would rather have a longer period of um, this dating courtship process to develop friendship rather than jump into marriage. Actually, developing friendship in a relationship is actually better during your courtship than to try and develop it in marriage, because now marriage will be now involving relatives and other people, right? So I actually think, like what Novelle said, it might be hard at first to get someone who you're already a friend with and then you start dating. So if you actually get to be attracted first, of which most of us do, and try to develop a friendship out of honesty, that's when you have to start being honest, and also die to self. That's one thing also I learned in one book I read, that you put away your selfish desires and try to understand the next person, because mind you, you're trying to learn someone and they are trying to learn you. So it's actually a learning process. So I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
is actually important as well.
Yeah, there's a friend of ours. I was hoping that we would get somebody who doesn't agree, who disagrees, to to make the discussion a little better. But anyway, there's a friend of ours who was supposed to be on the call, but he unfortunately couldn't make it. We chose to invite him to the call because his comment was really interesting. He said, "So you guys are advocating for the friend zone."
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
So
Yes.
it would have been great to hear what he had to say to expand on that. But I
uh,
guess at the end of the day, it's not necessarily that we're advocating for the friend zone, because no one escapes the friend zone, right?
It's true.
You can escape it. Funny
the
enough,
question.
funny enough, one of the comments I got was that thank you so much for this podcast. You don't know how much it irritates me how there are people who like they don't want to be in the friend zone. Like they want to jump into the
Mm-hmm.
part a stage without going through the friend zone. So sometimes I guess maybe our definition of friend zone over time has led us to think that friend zone is this place where you have hope
The
of
prison.
growth. But friend zone can literally be okay. I like you, you like me. Can we let's be friends for a while? Let's
Uh-huh.
just hang out, most things attached, and see if we are compatible before we move on. So I think maybe we need to like shift a bit the definition that we have of friendship, because that's why a lot of people are like friend zone. I don't want this friend zone thing because they think it's this inescapable box where like, oh, you're my brother for life, so no hope.
No,
But
brother
yeah,
and friend zone are different things. Okay, commenting on that, right? I
uh,
was reading something online about this friend zone thing. Well, most guys actually are the ones that get friend zoned, and
Sadly.
none of them like,
get friend zone.
yeah, and none of none of them like to be in friend zone. But the actual fact is, it's more painful to start something with someone without being friend zoned, and then later on you realize you guys are not compatible after investing your feelings in something, then after 3 months or even less, you find out you guys are not compatible. It's actually more painful than actually to be in friend zone. Then you guys realize that I don't think, yeah.
Yeah,
Then
then
you
you
can
can
remain,
just
yeah,
move
yeah.
No,
away.
So I think, so I actually feel it's more painful to jump into something because in all relationships, when you start, the flame is burning, like it's really burning. So later on, you need that friendship to sustain you when things go down, when things go lower. And when you don't have that friendship now, that's when everything dies down.
Mm.
And also, on that, usually in relationships where friendship doesn't come first, romance comes first. Because if there's no friendship, what is the
Because
relationship? What is the relationship all about, right? So there's this pastor
uh, did we
Okay,
just lose? I
yeah, something just happened to Ivy. Um,
okay.
yeah, whilst we
okay.
wait for her, Sipo, I think you tried to say something.
Yeah. So from what Ivy is saying about the friend zone, I think when you say friendship, people quickly think about friend zone.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but then those are two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
To speak.
Expand,
They are,
expand.
there's a line between friend zone and friendship. If because I was thinking of it literally and practically. I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about all the friendships that I have, be it with male friends or with female friends.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no time when you start a friendship, you have those warm, fuzzy feelings. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm weird, but I never have warm, fuzzy feelings about a friend of mine. Like, yeah, yeah, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
The foundation is friendship. It's
Mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
It's devoid of all these imaginations and all these influences, external influences, so to speak. Uh, and if we look at friendship as an integral part of any relationship or as a
Mm-hmm.
starting point, excuse me, as a starting point, that would help. Because
Yeah.
if you're friend zoned, being friend zoned is another whole new ball game, which people don't like,
Yeah,
which guys don't like.
but 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 I think the way I see it, uh, you become friend zoned if there's an imbalance of intentions. Like if one person
Yes.
just wants to be friends and the other person wants more than that, which in a sense you kind of get the feeling that it's good that it happens then, because you don't
Yeah,
want to get into a relationship where there's an imbalance of expectations and imbalance of where this is going. So maybe sometimes it's good to be parked in the friend zone,
Mm-hmm.
for a while.
because yeah, until there's a balance of expectations or a balance of intentions, or if it's never going to be there, then at least you won't get into something that will never come to anything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
So
think yeah, sure, go ahead.
go ahead.
I wanted to say I think it's also important to realize that not all friends could make a suitable partner for you. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they're friends you're cool with,
that's a
like
point.
they're your person. Like if you wanna go watch a game, there's this person that you can go with. But it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're good friends, you might make good partners. So there is more than just friendship in a relationship. So it doesn't mean that anyone who's good friends with you, anyone who you get along with, is automatically in the running race for partner of the year. It just goes out. So some relationships, some people even try, and then it just sours the relationship, sours the friendship.
Mhm.
Then at the end of the day, even the friendship is gone. Like there's nothing left anymore. So not all friends make formidable partners.
But all partners make formidable friends. Is that a
Yeah.
quote that you're
Yeah.
coming up with?
Yeah. Well, that's my wisdom.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to give a bit of time to comment, not necessarily about the content of the show, but just about the idea in itself. Do you have any thoughts, Sipo, about the show in general? Stuff you liked, stuff you didn't like, stuff you think we can improve on, etc.
Oh well, I think most of the stuff, the sound of the thing of the podcast,
Yeah, everyone has been telling us about the sound.
yeah, I could hear what was being said, but then at first I had to really make sure I concentrate.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
So the sound was a bit of a problem. I'm sure that can be fixed.
Mm.
Yeah, and then the whole idea is I appreciated the idea because you learn a lot from people who are in a relationship and they are living the talk. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can actually see for yourself that what these people are saying, it's true. You can see it reflecting in their own relationship. It's
Okay.
not just a matter of them making noise about their different philosophies, but you can see that it's stuff that they are applying in their own relationship, and you can actually see that it's really true. So I love the integrity of your podcast because it's a reflection of what you guys are enjoying in a relationship, and that teaches a lot of people out there a lot. People learn, like you say, Instagram goals, see a picture and they see this and they think it's a goal, but the real meat and the real meat and bones behind a real relationship, they don't want to accept. They think it's all rainbows and butterflies.
Mm.
But I
Mm.
like that you tell us both sides of the story, which is what I appreciated. You did mention that it's not always fun, but when it's bad, it gives us a fallback to know that we are friends before anything else, and it helps us move on, which is what I appreciated, the balance in the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you'll still have that opinion later when we start talking about things that we are also struggling with. We chose to
Yeah,
start with friendship because we kind of excel in that department. But obviously,
yeah,
talking
you
about
do.
relationships, there'll be places where we are not so good at it. And we hope we're still going to be able to make a good impression on it and at least explore it well, even though we are still working on it
Friendship.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you Usipo, would you definitely recommend it to anyone who wants to take a listen? Would you share it? Would you
I've
encourage people
shared
to
it with
come on
all
board?
my friends.
Okay,
That's what
that's
I've been doing the whole week. I've been sharing as guys, listen to this, listen to this. I've been
thanks for
sharing
the
it.
support, people.
Right.
We can.
Even
Yeah,
people
thanks.
I don't know, I'm like, can I have your number? I need to share a podcast with you.
Thanks. That's really encouraging. In fact, it's very encouraging that on our first episode of our first podcast, it's actually been listened to 76 times. And this is just in what,
Yeah.
2.5 days.
Yeah.
It's really quite
Yeah.
something. It's encouraging. We hope that on the next episode we'll be able to retain most of these people. Of course, there's probably
Mm.
people who listen to it and maybe didn't like it and they won't listen to the next episode. But we hope that this number is going to will retain most of these people and this number is going to keep growing and growing. And as you can see, we want to supplement the podcast with this
Yay! I
channel.
miss that.
Yay, Ivy.
Or not?
I'm back.
She,
Okay,
I
Ivy. When you're gone, I asked Sipo
uh-huh,
to tell us about comments on the show in general, not necessarily about the content, about the whole
okay,
idea of the podcast, things that we did well, things we didn't do well, things we can learn from, and
okay.
so forth. Generally, what did you think?
Well, the podcast was a very good idea, and well, previously I've already commented in Nobelis. I've given her feedback that I won't say much about the sound techniques and everything else because I'm not actually a professional in that. But well, from the comments I read as well, they were saying something about the sound. So
Hmm.
I'm sure you have that
Yeah,
your
yeah,
take in
yeah.
that. Then the part I like the most is actually the content because
Mhm.
very few people actually come out to share their experiences or share ideas or open up to how they're actually achieving something. Well, I'm not to say they are selfish, but people are just afraid of the feedback, so
Mhm.
they never actually get the guts to try out something, and it was a very good start. Yeah, because a lot of people admire you. Just in case you didn't know, a lot of people admire you guys, but they actually don't know the do how. Like everyone can you can want to be like someone and they are your role models, but you don't know how to do it. So it was actually a good thing because people get to try out also, or to just use the ideas to also make their relationships work and just have everything in place in their
Just to
relationship.
comment on what you said, it's actually really scary, huh? Putting
I
yourself
know.
out there,
it's
exposing yourself to people's comments, it's not the
yeah,
easiest thing to do. It's pretty scary.
yeah. You need
I
the
know,
thick
and I
skin.
understand.
Yeah, yeah, you need thick skin. But for me, one of the most humbling things was, it's not just our peers, like our age mates, who came out and said this is great. Like, I had people who are much older than me, people who I look up to, coming out and also
Hmm.
saying, "You guys, this was great. How do I share? Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you." Do you get it? So for me, it was humbling to say,
Uh-huh.
you know what? Despite your age, if you have a story, share it. It might inspire someone. Never think you're too young or too small or you're irrelevant. You can, like, even if you're reaching two people, to them you're making a difference. So never underestimate your story. I think that's one thing that I would want to pass on to anyone and everyone. If you have a story, if you have something that you think is worth sharing with the world, just go for it. You don't have to be a superstar or just a certain caliber, whatever.
Hmm.
Just give it a
True.
go, and you'll be shocked at how many people actually appreciate true honesty and vulnerability. Yeah.
True.
I was so afraid to post on the day that the podcast went online. I
Uh-huh.
really had to uh,
Think about it.
yeah, think about it and convince myself to actually go through with it. But I don't regret it all because the first day the the response was overwhelming. Actually,
Yeah.
there's
Uh-huh.
an interesting thing that I noted from some of the statistics I was seeing is uh, the podcast actually was more popular in Nigeria. I don't know if you guys, if nobody
Really?
has friends in
Who
Nigeria.
is in Nigeria too? It's
Yeah,
like,
but there's
I
like
It's
don't
not
know
20,
me.
anyone in Nigeria. Do you have friends in Nigeria?
I don't know, there's 24 people who listen to the
Yeah,
podcast from
let's,
Nigeria.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
and we
and
had
no,
people,
don't say anything about my accent.
and there were people from India, there were people from
Mm-hmm.
Botswana, Namibia. It was overwhelming. The support has been great, and it's really given us it's made us excited for the next episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You remember, because when I told you that, I feel like I need to listen to it again because the response is not matching what I thought. So I actually, after all the response, I actually went and listened to it again to say, what is it that people so fascinated about. You know how when you post a picture and you get a lot of likes,
You just
then you view it and you zoom it to say,
start
let's
viewing.
see what exactly is it.
What are they
That was my
seeing?
reaction. Because when this thing started, PK was more enthusiastic. He's the more technology and what type of a person. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like we'll see.
That's
Like
good.
he has
No,
this
actually,
big
no, actually,
big
I had
vision
to
for this
push
thing.
her.
He has a big vision, and I was just like, okay, we'll see how it goes. So it was really great to get
Mhm.
that much support.
And
It's much appreciated.
I also think it's a good thing on your guys' side because you also get, as you get the feedback, you also get to learn some lessons. You also get to know a lot of things, and yeah, and it makes the journey more interesting.
Yeah, it does.
A,
Hmm.
a friend of mine was saying it's actually a good idea that you guys have something that you're working on together because
Hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
always brings people together if a couple has a project that they're working on together. Anyway, guys, we might talk the whole night. We have to end this at some
I know.
point. Any final
Hmm.
words from? Let's start with Sipo. Anything you gotta say as final words?
Oh wow! Just want to say thank you for sharing. I I cannot express how much it has impacted my life, but it has big time. It was wonderful to listen to the authenticity of what you guys were saying. I loved
Hmm.
it. I loved it. I don't know. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And the
Sweet.
fact that you also talked
Yeah, too
about
kind.
reading books. There's a
Mm.
part where you talked about reading books about relationships.
I like that
That
too.
part is important. You learn a lot from
Very much.
reading about relationships from books or learning and how much it has impacted and helped your own relationship. I really appreciate and I'm eager to hear more and more and more and more of your podcasts.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
Vijay.
know how we study and prepare for all sorts of things, but for
Yeah,
relationships we think it's just smooth sailing.
Hmm.
We think we have an
yeah,
instinct for it. So that's been our inspiration really. If you're going to get into a big management role, you start studying management. If you're going to get
Hmm.
into a uh, big project and you're going to be an engineer, you study engineering. So
mhm.
similarly, just learn from other people's experiences, read the big minds, and get some information. Ivy.
Okay. I was, sometimes people might come up with their all sorts of feedbacks. Some will even tell you why you're doing this, you're not married and stuff like that. But in life, we learn from our experiences. We build our lives from the things we want to live. You live your dream as you dream it. So I believe if you really want to achieve something, the first thing is to take the step. If you don't take the step, you never get where you want to go. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, I believe there are people out there who are not um what can I say, open to learn new things from other people. The people like that, they don't like reading books that were written by other people or to learn from other people's experiences. Well, I'm the type of person who really enjoys listening to people's stories, experiences, and actually reading things from books from people who've experienced actually something. Because when someone lives their life, at least it's evident. Unlike when you try and there are people who want to learn from their own mistakes or from their own experiences. So I think this podcast is really a great way to just, I don't know how many people who will change their minds about this.
Thanks, Ivy. BK, I think we've lost.
It's disappeared.
Yeah, they've both disappeared. Ivy, BK. Okay, maybe as we wait for them to reconnect, Sipo would also appreciate it if you share. I don't know if BK had told you about the whole Patreon page thingy where you,
Yeah,
yeah, monthly. It's going to go towards things like getting proper sound system, and also how you can boost your posts so that can reach more people. And usually those things take money, and generally just
of
to
course.
grow the brand. Who knows how far it might go? Maybe we want to write a book one day. I don't know.
I know how it will go. It will go international.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yeah. So if you do have friends, family who you think wouldn't mind, even if it's just $1, I mean, most people don't even notice that $1 has been credited every month, debited every month, but it goes a long way. So it would
Yeah,
definitely appreciate if you push that and help us to get a following and to get funds to make this as big as it can be. Yeah.
yeah, I will. I will definitely.
Okay.
I'm really. You have no idea how inspired I am.
Thank you,
Uh,
Sipo.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm inspired. Let me just end it there. Otherwise,
Otherwise, you go on and on and on.
on
That's
and
great.
on.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
everyone
right,
seems to
Sipo.
believe.
Uh-huh.
He's back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys, I
Yeah.
don't know what happened there.
It's okay. I had just we were just about to close with Sipo, and I was asking him to push as much as he can the Patreon page thingy, so that we can get as much following and funding to make this thing as big as it can grow, to make it reach its full potential. Maybe I think you can expand better on the actual technical side of how it works, just in brief.
Yeah, so guys, we have a Patreon page. If you want to check it out, it's patreon.com/justlivin life. And the whole idea with Patreon is just a way to support creators. And you can go there and pledge a small amount just to ensure that we keep the show coming. There's a lot of things I that we look forward to doing, but we don't really afford some of the stuff. So your support would really go a long way. Like, for example, people were giving us feedback on the sound, and we're working on getting better sound equipment. We'd really appreciate your help on that. You can pledge anything, really. You can pledge 2 cents, you can pledge $1 million, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. And so that this is beneficial for you too, there are some perks to being a patron. So there will be a number of things that will be giving for patrons only. Patrons will get early access to episodes depending on what level of patronage you are. You can get some creative input on us, on the development of the show. We can send you our ideas before we make episodes, and you get to comment before, and all of that. So just check it out on Patreon. Give us feedback if you think there's things we need to change and things we need to improve on.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. On the Patreon thing, if someone just wants to um, make a donation and then not necessarily be a patron who gives in something maybe every month, but wants to make a one-off donation, is there a way of doing that?
Yeah, you can actually get on. So the way that Patreon works is
Mm-hmm.
you pledge something that will be charged, for example, on hours per creation. So you will only be charged when we post an episode, right? So if you
Okay.
think you just want to pledge a certain amount of money and just leave, what you can do is you can become a patron and wait for us to upload that one episode that you'll be charged on, and afterwards you kill your account. I think that's the easiest way to do that.
All right. Okay.
Or
All right.
you're also free to change your pledge anytime, so you can pledge something, then after a while you feel you want to take it down or you want to take it up, you can do that. It's pretty flexible.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
and another thing, guys, it's the YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, share, dislike if you don't like it. We just want to grow the YouTube channel as much as we can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much, Sipo and Ivy, for your time and for your input and your enthusiasm. We will definitely take into consideration all the things that you said, and we hope to learn from you also. And we hope that we'll have you guys on other reviews as well. I think we had a good discussion. I think it's a relationship, it's a friendship that we should keep going
Yeah.
over time. Yeah, I think, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So
Thank
again, next week, around Wednesday or Thursday, there we're going to be sending invites for this hangout for next week. Basically, how we select people for this hangout is the people who we just select people who made comments. If you make a comment that we like, whether it's about you liking the stuff that we're saying or about you disliking it, if we think it's a comment that we're interested to talk about, we'll select you to be a part of this hangout. So please do comment, guys. Do share your thoughts. Do tell us what you think, and we can get a chance to discuss with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.